The walls are closing in on Barack Obama, and Tulsi Gabbard just dropped evidence that shatters the Russia hoax wide open. Criminal referrals have been filed, and the House intelligence documents hidden for a decade are finally exposed. Obama personally directed his CIA to manufacture false intelligence, claiming Putin helped Trump win. They doctored the evidence, they buried contradictory reports, and they lied to Congress, the courts, and every single American. This wasn't incompetence or mistakes, folks. This was treason. The man who swore to defend our Constitution weaponized our intelligence agencies to frame his successor. And Watergate was nothing compared to this. The evidence is overwhelming and undeniable and criminal. And what you're about to see will rewrite history, so make sure you keep watching. So gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere. And prices, they keep climbing. Every day, more and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Noble Gold specialists are trained to help investors like you go from confused to confident, from wondering what's next to knowing exactly what to do. So visit nextnewsgold.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. That's nextnewsgold.com. So the biggest political crime in American history just got exposed, and Tulsi Gabbard's bombshell revelation confirms what millions suspected. Barack Obama, of all people, we all knew it was him, orchestrated the Russia hoax from the Oval Office. Let that sink in for a second. He orchestrated the Russia hoax from the Oval Office, and the House Intelligence Committee investigators spent over 2,000 hours uncovering the truth. They've interviewed 20 CIA and FBI officials. The evidence they found sat locked in a CIA vault for nearly a decade. Now it's public, and it proves Obama personally directed the creation of false intelligence to destroy Trump. This wasn't rogue agents or bureaucratic bungling. This came from the very top. So watch Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard confirm the criminal referral. Obama's role in manufacturing the Russia hoax is now a documented fact. Check this out.
Any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
So get this, a criminal referral was filed, and it has evidence pointing directly to Obama. He led the manufacturing of false intelligence to undermine an American election. And here's a comprehensive breakdown showing how deep this conspiracy goes. Obama planted 2,500 personnel to overthrow Trump's government. He planted people to overthrow it. The FBI infiltrated his campaign with honeypot agents. Take a look.
The allegations are so absurd that even Republican-controlled committees, looking into it, have dismissed them. And, Attorney General Barr has dismissed them. But, this is an example, I think, of a larger problem. Well, two larger problems. Which don't get as much attention, understandably, when you've got high unemployment and a pandemic raging.
Which he probably orchestrated too.
Because it doesn't touch people's day-to-day lives. But one of the central foundation stones of a democracy.
We live in a constitutional republic. President Obama, not a democracy.
Is the idea that you do not allow the politicization of the criminal justice system, the intelligence system, the military, right? That is stuff that you keep out of politics.
Well, clearly he didn't do any of that. 2 female FBI agents were sent as honeypots, and 26 Trump associates were targeted for manipulation. This is straight up treason, guys. Bigger than Watergate ever dreamed of being. And watch Obama himself lying to the American people, calling these proven facts absurd, while sanctimoniously preaching about not politicizing intelligence agencies. Take a look.
You talked about this with the comedian Trevor Noah the other day. And you said a number of things in a row. You observed that there had been contacts between members of Mr. Trump's staff and Russian officials. Right. You noted that Trump benefited from the hacks. Your spokesman, Josh Earnest, has gone on to say this week that it's obvious that Trump knew what was going on. To what extent are you suggesting some kind of cooperation between the president-elect and Russian officials here?
Well, I'm not suggesting cooperation at all. Keep in mind that those statements were in the context of everyone now acting surprised by the...
Come on, spit it out. He's trying to think of the best lie. Do it.
CIA assessment that this was done purposely to improve Trump's chances. And my only point was that shouldn't be treated as a blockbuster because that was the worst kept secret in this town. Everybody understood that. It was reported on. Steve, if you go back and look at your stories, if you read any mainstream publication, you would see that if you have a hack of the DNC and a hack of Hillary Clinton's most senior advisor's emails, and those things are then released in drip, drip, drip fashion over the course of months, and that seem to generate consistently negative coverage.
Because you own the media. They own the whole media apparatus, guys. They created the story, they pushed the story, and then they shoved it through all the corporations and all the media outlets that they owned.
Despite the fact that there's nothing in there that's particularly controversial, that it's mostly just, as I said, political gossip or routine emails between folks who are working in a campaign environment, then it's a pretty clear inference that people would draw and did draw.
He was sitting there and he lied. He called it absurd. He said no one should politicize intelligence agencies while he weaponized them against his successor. And the details, they get worse. Obama was not just satisfied with regular intelligence reports. He ordered John Brennan to create a special assessment with handpicked analysts working in secret silos. Watch this.
Fox News alert the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade.
And you know what? There's always whistleblowers that are trying to come out and get Trump on everything. Where was the patriots for all these decades that knew this information? They knew these things were sitting inside these drawers, and they did nothing. Shame on those people for not standing up and standing tall. Only when it's politically convenient for the Democrats do leaks happen. This needs to change.
Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election.
You know, every time we put the quarter in the Alex Jones was right jar, all of us conspiracy guys, they want to call all of us crazy for all these years. We were right the entire time. I just want you to think about that. We were right. They did this. We knew it was false. We knew it was fake. But they kept doing it. Anybody who said anything different, they took away your YouTube channels. They silenced you on Facebook. And they dehumanized you. They took you out of everything. All because these people wanted to control and overthrow the government. We're going to continue. This stuff makes me so angry.
This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing. And only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated with the other intelligence agencies either. Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama.
So get this straight. Doctored intelligence, hand-picked analysts, a rush job before Trump's inauguration. Obama knew exactly what he was doing. He was framing an innocent man. They pushed 4 massive lies. Putin wanted Trump to win. Putin helped Trump win. Russians had blackmail on Trump, and Russia colluded with Trump's campaign. All of it has been proven false. Watch.
There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations, but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who
because they're all on their payroll. These guys all knew what was going on. They've been selling the big lie for decades. And Trump, he was an outsider. He was going to expose all of these things. Of course, they're going to try to shut him up. He was somebody they never expected, an honest American person going into the White House and seeing all of the dirty lies and having his fingers on every single button that they didn't want pressed.
Insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings. Rank and file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards. There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top.
So senior CIA officials refused to traffic in these lies, yet Brennan and Comey overruled them. They violated their own tradecraft standards under massive pressure from who? Obama. And the truth? Putin had no preference. He expected Hillary to win like everybody else. He had dirt on Hillary that he never even released. And if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't he use that dirt? Check this out.
CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016.
Putin hated Secretary Clinton so much that the flip side.
In all honesty, most Americans do hate her too, Mr. Comey. We'll continue with that.
Of that coin was he had a clear preference for the person running against the person he hated so much.
It was Russia in a very systematic way tried to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of Donald Trump being elected.
This was such a malicious disinformation campaign perpetrated on the American people that at one point, 60% of Democrats believed the Russians hacked our voting machines to help Trump win the White House. What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won. He had no preference. But like most people, expected Hillary to win and had a little docket of compromising dirt on her, dirt that he never released. Now, if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizer.
I want to note to the viewers watching, you guys go back. We covered Hillary Clinton's medical issues way back then. And she even credited Gary Franchi in the Next News Network as one of the reasons why she lost the election. We're going to continue with this.
Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
So 60% of Democrats believed Russia hacked voting machines because of Obama's lies. Well, I guess that only works when it's a Democrat who loses an election. Anyways, he knew Putin didn't prefer Trump, but cooked the intelligence anyways. And remember Peter Strzok and his insurance policy? He should be next for indictment. And watch him squirm about the threats against those exposing his conspiracy. Watch. It's beautiful.
If we are too timid in the way we talk about this, I mean, these are threats to terrorize people who are public servants doing their jobs for a political purpose. Are we see something? Are we saying something? And are we saying the right thing?
Well, in my opinion, we're not doing enough. I mean, look, when push comes to shove, absolutely the FBI and DOJ need to band together and protect their personnel to allow them to do their job. They're going to do it, but they need to be able to do that without fear for their lives. When the FBI was fighting Al Capone, there was not a unit dedicated to protecting FBI personnel. When the FBI was fighting organized crime families in New York and all around the U.S., there was not a unit dedicated to protecting FBI personnel. I'm struck by the fact you threw up that quote from testimony from an FBI agent to the House Judiciary Committee.
So you remember the Strzok and Page text messages back and forth? I want to know how this guy got a book deal, number one, and number two, how he's even allowed on television after all the bad things that he did, all the lies that he told, everything. How is this guy even a relevant person in the media right now? It's insane.
Who's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee? Jim Jordan. And yet Jim Jordan, hearing that these threats to this AUSA are coming about from being publicized, he nevertheless goes on television and, appears in the same, little snips that you showed, repeating the name of this AUSA. So congressmen, senators, they don't care.
And is he recording in like the children's section of a Barnes and Noble? It looks kind of suspicious.
Care about this threat, but we need to be doing more. In my opinion, I'm glad to see the FBI and Director Wray and others starting to talk about this, but we need to talk about it even more because it's not getting better. If anything, it's getting worse, and it's getting worse behind the testimony and the statements of senators and congressmen, not fringe, sort of outcasts and outliers, but mainstream, reputable national politicians. And it's got to stop.
It's interesting when you say that. So there's no unit created to protect the agents that were prosecuting Al Capone. And your comment, Pete, about the elected officials who are threatening these individuals in the same way that Republicans put out enough disinformation for the...
Look at that little smirk while she's selling the lie to the American people. She's smirking like, oh, they need to create people to protect us from the Republicans. Lady's nuts.
Russian troll farms to be rendered nearly irrelevant, although I'm sure they'll be busy in 2020. You've got Republicans doing all of the mob-like threatening and intimidation and endangering of prosecutors. What do you need the Proud Boys for? It's an extraordinary articulation of how far we have fallen. Pete Strzok.
That's a pretty big word for her. So the man who conspired with Lisa Page to prevent Trump from winning now complains about threats. He had an insurance policy, guys. Remember that. Now he needs a lawyer. So don't forget the other tentacle of corruption. That's Hillary's uranium deal with Russia. 20% of America's uranium sold while donations flowed to the Clinton Foundation. Take a look.
Did Hillary Clinton give 20% of the United States supply of uranium to Russia for donations to the Clinton Foundation? And it flows out of the sale in 2010 of this company, Uranium One, which controlled about a fifth of America's uranium, to a Russian firm called Rosatom. By law, even though Uranium One was a Canadian firm, the U.S. part of this deal had to be approved by the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S., which is...
I wonder whose people all chair that committee. Interesting.
It's comprised of 9 agencies, including the State Department, and at that time, Hillary Clinton was the boss there. Anderson?
So, I mean, a lot of this was looked at during the campaign. Why is it coming up back now again? I mean, there were also all the donations to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. It was all talked about before. But the Hill newspaper, which reports on a lot of things with the government here, came out with a report showing the FBI was investigating a subsidiary of Rosatom for possible racketeering, money laundering, bribes, all aimed at giving the Russian government more influence over the U.S. nuclear industry while this deal was being approved. So some members of Congress want to know why they weren't told about all of this. And furthermore, the Hill says the Russians were channeling millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation at the same time.
Is anybody surprised? If you're surprised about that, please let us know in the comments. All this was happening while Obama was selling our secrets to other countries as well. We're going to continue.
Raising the question, especially for some Republicans, Did Hillary Clinton help this deal along in any fashion?
She most certainly did. So the FBI was investigating Russian racketeering while Hillary approved selling them our uranium, and millions channeled to the Clinton Foundation and the real Russia scandal. So if you got value from this report, please tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is the crime that dwarfs Watergate. Another one. These guys just keep lining these things up. And Obama didn't just spy on a political opponent. He weaponized the entire intelligence apparatus to overthrow a duly elected president. He manufactured evidence. He planted moles. He lied to Congress, the courts, and every single American who trusted him. And the Russia hoax wasn't just dirty politics. It was an attempted coup. And now the evidence is undeniable. Criminal referrals are filed and documents are exposed. And the truth finally is revealed. And for years, they called us conspiracy theorists for questioning the narrative. They destroyed lives. They bankrupted innocent people. They divided our nation with lies, all to cover for Obama's crimes. And the reckoning, it has finally arrived. So here's a question. Should Barack Obama face the same treatment as any other American who commits treason? Full prosecution and prison time or more? Let me know yes or no in the comments and sound off below. And remember, justice delayed is justice denied. Check out our merch shop and wear your support for truth.